for this period. So door to door, the authorities were going. They were also advertising on television channels here, local television channels here. They were also sending SMS, text messages to people here. So a lot of people here say they were well aware that the cyclone was coming. They were prepared for this, and that's why the damage is not as significant. And many people here say they're not. I mean, they were scared, of course, about the cyclone, but because they'd experienced that damage in 1999, they were well prepared for this particular cyclone. Pauline.
Yeah, and back then.
The Israeli military says it has discovered an illegal tunnel running into the country from Gaza, the third discovery over the year. More than a kilometer underground, the Israeli military says the tunnel could only be used for one purpose. Jim Clancy has more from Jerusalem.
CNN Hamas began evacuating police stations and some office buildings in the Gaza Strip, fearing a retaliatory strike after Israel uncovered what it branded to be a terror tunnel. The tunnel was clearly not designed for the smuggling of food and fuel, and it came with a warning.
If the Hamas will carry out a terror operation, an operation from a terror tunnel, it will pay a heavy price. And I think Gaza will look different if such an attack is carried out.
The tunnel extended 1.7 kilometers, about a mile, from the Khan Yunis refugee camp in northern Gaza across the border into Israel and near the kibbutz of Ain Hashlosha. Israeli TV Channel 10 broadcast video that showed the tunnel, which was at least 18 meters deep, wired for electricity and communications, and high enough for a man to stand, walk, or run through. It was fully lined with an estimated 500 tons of concrete on the top and both sides. Israel announced it was halting supplies for concrete and construction materials going into Gaza. An Israeli reporter who was inside the tunnel said he saw markings and dates indicating the tunnel had been completed in July. Israeli Defense Forces published a statement saying the most likely use for such a tunnel would be to kidnap Israeli soldiers or civilians and take them back into Gaza, hoping to trade them for Palestinian prisoners.
We're talking about a whole industry and not a small group that is organizing it. This is a terror industry in every way recognizable.
A similar tunnel was used to kidnap IDF soldier Gilad Shalit in June of 2006. It ended 5 years later with Israel releasing more than 1,000 prisoners who were collectively accused of killing hundreds of Israelis. This latest tunnel discovery increases fears on the Israeli side for its sheer size and sophistication. The Israeli military says it is operating under the assumption there are more tunnels out there. Jim Clancy, CNN, Jerusalem.
Well, Sundays in France have long been a day off. That means no shops and supermarkets must remain closed by law. Or will people begin to see stores open on Sundays? This traditional day of rest may be about to change. CNN's Jim Biderman has more from France.
Sunday in France, a day of rest, to take a deep breath after the rigors of the previous weekend, to mentally prepare for that 35-hour work week ahead. A day to be with the family or work on personal development. But a day to shop? The government here is trying to figure out what to do after a court ruling which orders some home improvement stores to shut down on Sunday, in compliance with a work law drawn up a century ago. The problem is that according to one survey, 4 out of 5 French favor the stores being open, and store owners say Sunday opening boosts the economy.
Stores need to be open on Sundays. People, they work all week long. They run all week. I prefer that stores be open on Sunday, definitely.
What's more, employees like Murad Tarb, who are often paid extra for Sunday work, say it's one way to make ends meet.
Money talks, you know. When you work on Sunday, you get about 150% of your salary. So it's more interesting for us to work on Sundays. But unfortunately, it's quite difficult to get all the Sundays because there's too many people who want to work on Sundays.
Tarb and others who want to work Sundays are part of a protest movement trying to get the government to leave the stores alone. They say it would be ridiculous to do otherwise with high unemployment and an uncertain economy. Nonetheless, the government is now imposing fines on the stores that stay open in defiance of the law. Opposing Sunday opening hours is an unlikely coalition on both ends of the political spectrum. Neither conservative Catholics nor leftist unionists and politicians think people should work on Sunday. A spokeswoman for the radical left front party says workers need to be protected.
I think everyone wants the rule to be that on Sunday you rest. The government obviously needs to put its hands in the theme, because it's about working rights. If not, you will have, everything will be open, and then we will just have the American way of life. I think that's sad.
For the moment, the government has dodged a bullet by naming the former head of the French post office to study the question of Sunday opening hours. His report is due in November. Meanwhile, the stores that stay open in defiance of the court ruling are paying hefty fines each weekend they do so, leaving the French to contemplate whether that American way of life would ever be at home here. Jim Bitterman, CNN, Paris.
Well, from Jim Bitterman there, a reminder of our top stories once again. Thousands of Muslims eager to celebrate the feast of Eid al-Adha with family and loved ones have turned Banjul Ferry Terminal and other transport hubs to make the trip home. 15 Gambians and the National of Guinea-Conakry serving time for various offenses have been granted pardon by the head of state. Delegates attending the African Regional Conference on Population and Development have failed to endorse the draft report on population beyond 2014. Thousands of evacuees forced to leave their homes in India's storm-prone states of Andhra Pradesh and Orissa before tropical cyclone Philin made landfall with fury have started picking up the pieces of their lives, and Israel's military has discovered what it calls an illegal tunnel running from Gaza to a Jewish settlement, the third such discovery in as little as 12 months. And just to remind you that very shortly we'll bring you the full text of the traditional Tobaski message of the President, His Excellency Sir Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh. That's all in this newscast, and from GRTS we wish you all a very blessed Tobaski. Thank you for watching, and stay with GRTS. Bye-bye.
عيد الفطر من بعد شهر الصيام، من بعد شهر الصوم شهر العبادة.